Hi everyone, very welcome to the What's the Story 10-minute catch-up with myself, Lloyd Bracken. Basically, I just head around the world and gather news stories from Clara people who may have different things going on in their lives. First up on the podcast today is Danny Price, all the way from New York City, and he tells us about his brand new bar he's opening and also some long-lost family he's discovered recently. Danny Price, what's the story?
Lloyd, how you doing, sir? How's things?
Not too bad, Danny. How's things in New York City?
Sure, good, ticking away, man. Same old, strange all year, but all good.
You're opening a new bar, which we'll get to in a minute, but you found some long-lost relatives.
I did, Lloyd. It was a strange twist of fate. I was just putting up on a local page for the town where I'm opening the bar about, I'm opening the bar, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for, the usual crack. I just happened to put up, I'm originally from Ireland. My wife's from Merrick, the next town over. And it was great feedback, there was people, best of luck and all this crack. And then one woman responded, just by chance, where in Ireland are you from? My heritage is from Offaly. My maiden name is MacDonald. And I was like, Jesus, MacDonald, that can't be true, can't be right. So my father always told me about my grandmother's brother who moved over here back and I think it was 20s, 30s, somewhere around then. But long story variable, Lloyd. We went back and forth a couple of minutes. I asked her, was he a bus driver in Queens? She sent pictures. I sent pictures, and it turns out that was her grandfather.
Wow.
That was so. Her father actually spent some time in Raheen in the 50s for a year, just down from you, in my grandmother's house, and we got together and exchanged pictures. They had a couple of pictures and whatnot of. Christy MacDonald, and which would be my grandmother's father, and working in the factory. So they were delighted to hear the stories of Clara and stuff like that. One of them actually listened to the podcast with my mother on it. They were all big into it.
What did your father, Joe Price, make of all this, Danny?
Sure. He was. I think he's still getting used to it. Yeah. I think his first thing was, are they going to come looking for land off me? But no, he was over the moon because he's always talked about Davy MacDonald and McDonald's. Anytime I go through the train and go through Jamaica, it's a little town, a big town in Queens. Well, any sign of Davy MacDonald driving a bus there, So he's over the moon.
Fantastic.
So he's effectively had a pint with his first cousin who he's never met.
That's unbelievable. And it made the papers back here, Danny. For once, you weren't on the court section. You're actually on the normal pages.
Right? Can you edit that out, please? That's the truth, though. Yeah, I read the papers. I gave Mike, that's the father's cousin, gave him a copy. He's over the moon. He actually has a hurl belonging to his father, which is or his grandfather, which is the guy. His father is the guy who emigrates. He's a hurl belonging to his father who played with Clara juniors in freaking, the 20s or whatever, the 19.
So the relatives you've met there, essentially, their parents made the same journey as yourself and Mary did many moons ago.
They did, yeah. And it's strange. The people in question, where I'm opening the bar, they live about 1,000 feet from there, and their brother, or their uncle, I know it's all a mess, but my father's cousin, he lives in the same town as my wife is from, in Merrick, in New York. He's been there the whole time I was there, a couple of miles away.
Very small world, Danny.
It really is, It's Facebook again, social media,
Yeah, so tell us about this new bar you're opening, Danny, called the Noon Inn, am I right?
It's called the Noon Inn, Lloyd, yeah. I'm actually here working on it now. It's, getting it together. It's with all that was going on in the city and everything. The two places I was working in the city shut down. There's a massive decrease of bars in the city. They're dropping like flies, unfortunately, with everything that's going on. They're still not allowed dying inside, so the city's hurting. And this place came up out just close to where I'm living. So I took a chance on it. I hope it works, because if it doesn't, I'll be on the breadline in a couple of months.
So what's it going to be like, Danny?
Just a little neighbourhood bar, right?
I thought you would have called it the Church Road Inn or something.
The Church Road Inn. The Noon Inn is actually, there was a bar here 100 years ago around the same space. So I'm piggybacking off that, pretending I know what I'm talking about in the local history, Right. But yeah, little small little place, holds about 50 people. We'll do a little bit of food and that, bit of live music. We might get a loaded reunion perhaps one of the days.
Yeah, but you're no stranger to the bar work there, Danny, and managing bars in New York.
Yeah, since I came over here, I've been doing that, and I thank Trevor Kelly, who you've had on here. He's the one that kind of got me into a proper job and guided the way for me ever since. Trevor's a classic, so it's been good to us so far.
Will your long lost relatives be getting a free pint there?
No such thing, Lloyd, as free pints.
Well,
I give them a couple.
you're very good to Irish people that goes out there, Danny. There was a lot of people that was good to you when you went out there. So is that tradition still being passed down?
I think that's it, like, I remember when I went out first, I was told by Decky Tracy actually told me to go into Decky Tracy, Trevor Willis. So I go into Clark's, talk to whoever was working. It was John Madden who was working. I think I left. That's my first night up in McLean Avenue. I left with a job and a tip for an apartment, and I think Irish people just seem to hand it on down. It's nice. It's also nice to see anyone that comes out from home. You're kind of just happy to see people from home.
Will you have any Clara or Offaly memorabilia at the bar, Danny?
I will indeed have a couple of things ready to hang. I'm going to get a couple of pictures of JB, John Buckley, and put them up, and some tributes to home for sure.
Fantastic. So, Danny, is there anybody or anything you miss back here? If you think of Clara, something you miss offhand?
Absolutely. You miss just hanging out with the fellas and the chipper.
Everyone misses the chipper.
Everyone missed the chipper. No, it is. You miss. When you go home, it's great cracking. Seeing everyone having the crack in the bars and whatnot. It's not the same. It's great here and everything. It's just not the same as that. So I do. You'd miss home, but it's nice to be able to go home.
Yeah, of course you have your own family there, and your sister Mary is there as well. So plenty to keep you going out.
Mary's there. Yeah, it's her little lad's birthday was yesterday. He was one, so we're heading up there on Saturday to see them. But it's she's got 2 kids up there now. Yeah, so it keeps you going, like.
Yeah, it's nice to get it. And your mother's podcast was very popular.
It was good, yeah. She was very nervous, so she was. So she was. I don't know what I'm going to say. I said to her, "Bring the white suit, don't bring the church suit."
Danny,
and I was very saddened as well. About John Lowe not getting the part. That's another.
Yeah, John's going to be back on in a couple of weeks, expressing his concerns, and he just wants to live a normal life. He can't get back.
That's it. What more can a man ask for?
There's a lot of people asking Danny to get Joe Price on the podcast. What's the odds?
I tell you, when it comes to the thing to get Joe Price on is if you sat him down, don't tell him there's a microphone in front of him. Get a couple of cans and start chatting, because he genuinely is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the town and the history of the town. He's got great interest in it, and your area specifically. He'd be able to tell you who lives in your house 100 years ago, who laid the cornerstone on it.
No, it would be great. He's on my list. Hopefully, sometime he'll fulfil that. Danny, I've seen on Facebook some brilliant songs that you've played remotely, of course, because you're over there, and the rest of the band are here with Nigel Rabbit. And who else is on that?
It's we did a couple of them, Lloyd. It was Nigel, Johnny Johnson, Rocky Whelan, guy from Tullamore, and John Kerwin, whom I've never met. We did a couple of Lizzie numbers. That whole thing is, I've never even thought about doing that before, and everyone's at now. That's brilliant to be at that, to be able to do it over with guys I've never even met.
So what's it like to collaborate with guys that you've never met?
It's strange. Like, he emails me the bass track, the drum track. I'll put some guitar down on it so I can do it I'm doing it in the comfort of my own home,
Yes. Any plans for any more?
Yeah, no, we've a couple going. I think Nigel did something with Joe recently, which I heard. I'm looking forward to hearing that. They did Hazard by Richard Marx.
Oh, brilliant.
There's a couple of we'll just do it for the fun, like. Are you going to do one yourself? You guys have done a couple with the band, have you?
I have to learn out the drum first. I mean, drum and time. I mean,
a bit of rapping there, like.
I can't compete with John Kerwin. He's after blowing me out of water.
He's a great drummer, in fairness. Again, a man I've never met, but he's a fantastic drummer. Like yourself, you're a savage drummer too.
I think it's great, though, that you can just sit down in your apartment or house in New York and play along with a band who's based in Offaly.
It's fantastic, Lloyd, and something we never even thought about doing, before quarantine hit.
Yeah.
We never even thought about doing anything like that, but it's fantastic.
So there's pluses in quarantine, Danny. Are you still in quarantine out there, or how's things now?
There's parts of there's still a lot of restrictions in place and everything. Out in Long Island, it's a little bit less extreme. The city is still, when it comes to restaurants and everything, there you're not allowed inside restaurants until I think actually the 30th of September. Is that tomorrow? There's parts of the country still locked down.
So is anyone you'd like to say hello to back here?
Everyone, I suppose, like, I say hello to my mother and father, and my godson Oisin, Oren, and everyone else out there, So it's fair play on the podcast, like. It's great for us out here specifically. We've been all talking about. It's just great to the characters come out of Clara. Is when you put it on record, it's really something else,
Danny Price, thanks very much for joining us from New York City.
Bye, thank you, and keep up the good work. And say hello to everyone at home.
Very best to look at your bar, the High Noon Inn.
The Noon Inn.
The Noon Inn.
Yeah,
Won't
East
forget
Meadow,
that.
New York.
And will you have a Facebook page, Johnny? People can check out on that soon.
I will indeed, Lloyd. I'll get all that up and running there very shortly.
Brilliant. Let us know. We'll throw it on the page.
I will indeed, Lloyd. Thanks very much.
Take care of yourself, Danny.
Lloyd, you too. I'll talk to you soon.
You just listened to What's the Story with Lloyd Bracken. Check out all our social channels for info on new episodes. Oh, and thanks for listening. On the Town.